welcome back everybody for another episode of Dollar Bin Digging. This is the video and article that I do for comicbookinvest.com, where I talk about those books you can probably still find tucked away in those cheap boxes, in those discount bins at your LCS, flea markets, yard sales, half-price books, wherever you do your cheap comic book hunting. These are some things you can probably still grab for next to nothing based off of some of the recent news, rumors, announcements, and mostly things going on in the actual comics. So I hit up a bunch of new releases this week and give you some of the first appearances of a bunch of characters that are playing some major roles in the books you are reading on a weekly basis. So with that all said, hopefully you're enjoying this series as well as everything else here on the channel. Please let me know what you think in the comments down below. Make sure you like, you subscribe, you hit the alert button so you don't miss anything. Keep telling your friends so we can keep growing the channel. Check out our Discord, which we are trying to get fired up. And make sure if you haven't tried Whatnot, now's your chance to give it a try and get yourself a free $15. 15 bucks. No strings attached. Spend it with whomever you want on whatever you want. For first-time users, you'll help out the channel and you get yourself something for free along with it. So you got nothing to lose. Take a look at the link down below inside the description. And with that all said, if you want to see this week's books, all you got to do is just hang on for a few seconds after the intro, and I'll be right back. All right, so I will admit I'm kind of hustling to get this one in today. I didn't think I was going to get a dollar bin digging done, but I missed last week. I didn't want to miss another week. I had things planned out, so I figured I could get this done if I just focused, and let's see how this goes. Might be a little bit of a short one, but hey, it is what it is. We got one news item for you this week, so we are going to start off there. And even with this news item, it is closely tied to comic books. It's not movie news, it's not TV news or anything like that. I mean, we can go that route, but nothing seemed that interesting to me. So I just went with this story about Captain America forming a brand new Avengers team. So another volume of Avengers Assemble is coming out this September, and he's got a whole new crew. So Cap's going to be leading a whole new team with She-Hulk, Shang-Chi, Hawkeye, Proton, Hercules, Wonder Man, and a bunch of other, more minor characters. At least up until this point, they've played minor roles. So maybe this will give them a higher profile and get people more interested in their books. So all these people you see here on this cover, their first appearances are going to be already pretty expensive, as you might know. So let's look at some of the other characters we know are going to be part of this team that you can grab their first appearances. Starting off with a character that, when I saw the name Lightspeed, I wasn't sure who Lightspeed was. And I was like, oh, seriously? From Power Pack? Yeah, Julie Power from Power Pack. Lightspeed is going to be in this new Avengers team. So keep an eye out for your Power Pack number ones. I know you still see them out there. There's tons of them. There's plenty of these out there. You still come across them every now and then. They may not be in the best of shape if you find them in a cheap box, but yeah, sometimes maybe not so bad. And again, they're all right there on the cover, but inside the book, as you know, we can go through. I'll be Lightspeed. So this is more where she was picking her name after all the kids found out their powers. This was the panel where she picked her name, Lightspeed. So right there. So with that said, what does this sell for? Well, kind of all over the place. You could see copies selling anywhere from like $8 to $11, and then even asking prices could be as cheap as $2.50 or as high as $20. Like I said, kind of all over the place. By and large, think about $10. This is probably about a $10 book, in all honesty. That's about what it is, probably about where it should be, but until something else bigger happens, maybe this is a stepping stone towards that. I don't know. Like I said, she's going to be on a new Avengers team. Does that mean anything? Maybe, maybe not. Curious? We'll see. We'll see how big her profile gets based off her inclusion with characters like, Hawkeye and Captain America. Up next, we also have a former villain joining the squad. Now, the character is going by the name of Lightning. Lightning powers, obviously. But originally, when this character was first introduced, he was known by Living Lightning, and he was a villain first appearing here in Avengers West Coast number 63. So you got the Human Torch versus the Living Lightning. Pretty cheap book. You can find this one out there. Copies sold $2.25, $6. Best offer on $8. Available $4, $7, $10. Again, it's not an expensive book, and that's the point. This isn't about you finding very expensive books or books that are going to make you a ton of money. You're not going to get rich finding any of these things. This is just kind of fun stuff that you can go and dig just for the thrill of the hunt, sort of like a scavenger hunt, kind of vibe. And you never know, like down the line, maybe Lightning or Living Lightning hits it big. But for now, it's just a fun little first that you can go grab for next to nothing. So nothing wrong with that. Comics should be fun after all, especially if we're reading these silly books. With that said, that's like I said, Living Lightning, villain. What was that? That was in the 90s there, or early 90s. I got to go back now. I got to go back. What year was that? June 1990. All right, so 1990. Took a while for this character to, I guess, change his ways because he decided to change his name, at least, and go by Lightning in Avengers No Surrender 675. This is that run that gave us Immortal Hulk, and yeah, it was kind of cool to start. A lot of second prints and reprints, things like that in this run. But now you can find these pretty cheap. But like I said, Living Lightning, don't confuse me with Living Laser. Just call me Lightning now. This book, you can find this selling for $1.35, or get yourself a 9.8, or like somebody did, for $26. That's like less than the cost of grading when you factor in you got to mail it away and stuff like that, and shipping and insurance, and $26, a 9.8. Yeah, craziness. And $1.35. Copies available. You could find $2 copies. You could find $9 copies. Once again, kind of all over the place, but it's one of those books. It's not really a first. It's just, again, it's kind of a change in name. So don't put too much stock in that, but I figured I'd point it out anyway since we're doing this. Another character that's apparently going to be joining this squad had a recent miniseries, had an old school miniseries, was also part of the New Warriors from back in the day, and that is Night Thrasher. Always had a cool look, so, always seemed to have a little bit of popularity because of that. I think just because of his, the black and red and nighttime vigilante justice kind of thing. But everybody, as I mentioned, New Warriors, everybody knows to go for Mighty Thor 411. This is just one of those books just ingrained in our heads at this point. Nothing, you got this Juggernaut cover. Nothing can stop the Juggernaut. But at the very end of this book, in the last panel, that's when we get the New Warriors, including Night Thrasher. All of them naming themselves. Hey, I'm Speedball, I'm Firestar. They're all cheering out their names. Last panel, last page. We've seen this before. This is Hulk 180. This is Avengers, what is that, 195 or 194 with Taskmaster. This is Amazing Spider-Man 299, isn't it? Because it's just them. Last panel. Say their name. Not on the cover. But this is the book that everybody wants when you look for New Warriors first appearances. This book, yes, some copies still sell for like $5 to $10. But the asking prices here, there's a lot more in the $20 to $30 range for this book because it's, New Warriors cameo. Even calling it a cameo, this goes against what most people do today. Today, everybody seems to gravitate towards the next book, your Hulk 181s, because there they are on the cover, getting announced. This is usually the book people want. Gambit is another instance of that. Regardless of the fact, yes, they did show up in the book before. Not on the cover, one panel. This is usually the book they want. But interesting that the market doesn't see it that way. Because for this book, and again, you can see them all there on the cover, $5, $12, $10. I mean, it's selling kind of the same value, same prices as the other book. But by and large, the asking prices are much lower. $7, $10, $14. As you saw the other one, most people are asking $20 to $30. This, they're lucky to be asking 10. Why is that? I don't know. Market can be crazy. Market cannot make any sense. It is what it is. My point, it doesn't matter. You just buy what you want and just know what you're buying. So know that if you're buying 411, you're getting a last page cameo. Know that if you get 412, they're on the cover and you're getting the full story inside. That's all. Know what you're buying. With that said, that's all I got based off of that, Avengers Assemble new comic book news. So let's get into the actual comics that came out this week. So if you like me, not if you like me, but if like me, you also read comics, you might be interested in seeing where some of these characters have first appeared. Uh Thank you to preemptive pimp pump preemptive pump. I don't know the abbreviation. I don't know if you're going for pimp or pump there, but thank you for pointing out that the characters on these Stormbreaker covers that I talked about on the Wednesday watch list did appear before. I wasn't not familiar with these guys. So I was looking at this, I was like, I don't know who this is with Warlock. Looks like a little Star-Lord little wannabe, but apparently this is a little robot character called Multitude that has appeared previously. This character is actually from 3 years ago. In 2021, he first showed up in the Avengers Annual. So hey, you learn something new all the time. I didn't know. I wasn't reading this book at that time. I didn't know that this character was right there, like the first page, first panel. He's going. Yes, he looks like Darth Maul as a kid, but it's this little robot boy, little android, and he holds the Soul Stone. Makes sense, no soul. So you're going with the whole kind of vision thing. But yes, this is him right here in this Avengers Annual book, and it's not an expensive book. You're gonna find it for a cover price or less. I mean, copies sold, best offer on $4. Copies available, yes, $5. And somebody's asking $9, but that $9 also comes with free shipping. So you know how much it costs to ship a book. So it's basically cover price. So nothing, nothing too expensive. You might be able to find this one out there for cheap if you decide to go digging. So first appearance of Multitude. Another character, again, I was looking at this one. I didn't know who this little Green Lantern knockoff guy was, but I saw we had the Green Stone, we had Gamora, and apparently the Green Stone is now, or is the Time Stone. Remember, I showed you Marvel can't keep track. They keep changing what the Infinity Stones are with the colors, because originally the Green Stone in my day during the Infinity Gauntlet was the Soul Stone. It was the big one in the middle, but now they've kind of changed it to yellow, or now it's a green thumb. I'm pretty sure it was green in the. God, it doesn't matter. They keep changing them. They've changed them a few times. In the movies are different, and in the comics they are what they are now. So the Green Stone, the Time Stone, goes to this character, Overtime. What a lame ass name that is. But again, character I didn't know existed. Overtime. He uses the Time Stone. He kind of like rewinds time a little bit. He first appears as this convicted felon. I think maybe even convicted murderer in Infinity Wars Infinity #1. So before he gets his, he gets his powers of sorts, but he doesn't have a name or a uniform or anything like that. He just kind of, the stone finds him and he gets some powers, and he gets out of prison here. So here is this Batista character. Yeah, Overtime. But this is him. So this is technically his first appearance. Even though it is, like I said, no superhero name or anything like that yet. I couldn't find any book. This is a hard book to look up because it's technically Infinity Wars in the symbol Infinity. And if you try to, look up Infinity Wars Infinity, you're just typing the word Infinity in twice. So it's not going to help you narrow your search. It opens it up and there's just tons of fodder that doesn't match what you're looking for. So I'm not surprised I couldn't find any sold. I did manage to find one that was listed, and it only wanted $350, which is less than cover. So the point being, cover price or less is what we're talking about here. So very cheap book you can go and find if you want to get that first appearance of Overtime. Now, other sources pointed to this book as his first because he gets his uniform here. I don't even know if he gets his name yet, but he definitely gets this outfit in Wolverine and the Infinity Watch #5. So the last volume of the mini. I didn't show the interior panel where he puts on a dead guy's costume, but he does. He puts on a dead alien's outfit and claims it as his own, and then he starts, I guess, going by Overtime at some point. But this book also, it's cover price or less. We're looking here. Copies sold, $1.50, $2. Like, you're not getting a lot out of this. $2.70, $3 listed. $10 will get you the entire 5-issue set. So it's $2 a book. Not expensive. I'm not saying it's the greatest character in the world, but again, oddball, fun first to go and dig for nothing. Grab it if you find it. I mean, what's the harm, right? Put it in a box, forget about it. You never know. With that said, let's move away from these Infinity Stone characters. And we're going to get a couple more next week. Hopefully, people can help me out in identifying who these weird characters are because they don't look familiar to me. I'm going to have to go back and read these Infinity Watch books because at the time I just kind of tuned out. I'm like, I just wasn't interested. But with that all said, I am still very interested in the Transformers. And this week we got another issue Transformers, as you know. I mean, I'm not going to try to spoil too much, but the spoilers happen, and we are going to spoil an appearance at the very end. Partly, they are also on the spoiler cover that I showed on the Wednesday watch list. But it's not just Shockwave that shows up, but also the Combaticons. So these guys show up. They form Bruticus. You know, the big. I love that name. I don't know why. I just thought it was a cool name. I also like this this combiner set. I mean, they were tanks in like military vehicles, so it was kind of fun. Combaticons show up here, coming through the portal near the end of this issue, and that's them down at the bottom, or a couple of them down near the bottom. Again, they're combiners, so there's 5 of them. You got Onslaught and like Vortex, and I can't remember all their names, but they're pretty cool. They are on the spoiler cover, 1 in 50 for this book. Also kind of cool. Give you a better look at what they look like. This is what I showed you on the watch list. Yeah, this is a better look at what they look like put together as Bruticus. But they first showed up way back in the original Transformers run in issue 24. So January 1987. In here, basically, Optimus putting his squad together for Defensor, and Megatron was putting his team together, and they were lining up to go and do some battle. So, you know, it wasn't the most in-depth storyline ever, but this is their first time they showed up in comics. So there's the Combaticon crew right there. Again, you see other panels where this was the best one I can find that had all of them. And you see, you know, like I said, the team getting built and Bruticus showing up and the Defensor, etc. Fun little read. Doesn't take very long to get through this. I mean, it is, you know, old school Transformers comics. They weren't, like I said, it's not Shakespeare. With that said, copies sold $3, $7. Not inexpensive. First available copies, $5 to $15. You know, there's a $10 one or $11 one in there for my comic shop. So $5 to $15 seems about right. That's what a lot of these Transformer kind of firsts go. All it takes is a higher profile for these characters, whether they start to do more in these comics or the next Transformer movie focuses in on them and people start looking for these books again, and then the prices start getting a little out of hand. So if you can find this cheap enough, grab it, tuck it in a box, and you're prepared with your Defensor or your Bruticus crew showing up at some point. Now, last book we're going to cover also has multiple characters for us to talk about. We reviewed this on the Tax Show on Wednesday, and that is X-Men, Heir of Apocalypse. Now, Marco already covered Richter, who showed up in X Factor 14, 16, 17. X Factor 17, first appearance of Richter. He is one of the 12 contestants, if you will, to be the Heir of Apocalypse. And some others are in there, some more popular characters. You got bigger names like Cable and like X-23. And, you know, their firsts are going to be hard to find and expensive. But there are still some cheap options out there for you. And I'm going to show you the cheap ones. And who knows, if any of these characters become the next Apocalypse, their profile is going to be raised and more people might go back to look for these first. So let's dig in and see who we're talking about here. First one with Cable in this storyline was Armageddon Girl. Now, Armageddon Girl was originally called Nature Girl back in the... oh, shoot. Forget this circuit breaker thing. I forgot to update this from the last deck. But Armageddon Girl is the character we're talking about. And she first shows up here in Wolverine and the X-Men. This is the second volume of it in 2014. She looks much different. In here, like she speaks to animals and all that stuff. She's just got antlers like she's Sweet Tooth. So that's what the character originally started at. I think it was through some digital comics. Like something happened where like a turtle choked on a soda can container strap and she got real angry. She kind of morphs into that other creature that we've seen with the more demonish horns and the goat legs. She switches it up over time. But like I said, I think it was in the digital comics that So I'm not going to go back and go through those. They're digital. There's no paper for you to go and dig for. So we're not going to worry about that. This is her first. So even though it's not what she looks like now, this is the book that's going to be considered her first, and one you can go and find. Copies selling for $4 to $5, as you can see there. Asking prices, well, $7, $10, $28 somebody wants. And yeah, they point out that it's First Nature Girl. Just saying. Who knows? This character could be the next big thing. I know I can't even keep a straight face while I'm saying it. But the point being, if you can find it for cheap, go ahead and grab it. Up next, here as part of this crew, like I said, you got Forge. We've talked about Forge before. White Queen, expensive first. Wolverine, who is Laura Kinney, X-23. That's also expensive first appearance. But back there in the background, I don't know why he's there, but Doug Ramsey, Cypher, is an option for some reason. Yep, back there, Doug. He speaks all languages. What a mutant power. Yeah, let's make him the next Apocalypse. I don't think he's going to be the guy. You never know, though. You never know. Stranger things have happened. But Cypher is an option, and Cypher also appeared in New Mutants way back in issue 13. So just before Magic shows up, well, I know Magic's first is debatable, but everyone for a while there, people wanted 14. Issue before issue 13, Doug Ramsey here, our friend Cypher, shows up. So yeah, look at that sweet do. With that said, it's not an expensive book, still pretty cheap. Look, copy sold for under $2, $5, up to $12. Available copies 4, 3, 8. It's pretty cheap. You can find this out there. But you never know. Maybe Cypher is the next Apocalypse. Maybe. Or maybe it's this guy. Exodus. He's in this book all by himself for a while before they all meet up. But he's right here. Exodus. Straight out of the 90s. Yeah, one of Magneto's acolytes from back in the day. Showed up in X Factor 92 from 1993. Yeah, you remember the hologram covers. You got the Havoc one. That's what's on this one. Joe Quesada was doing the art at the time. And I don't believe he did all the panels, though, inside, because these panels don't look like... Well, actually, yeah, that does look a little like Joe. I don't know. Maybe a different inker. But Exodus shows up right here in this issue. So, first appearance, right there, hologram. Price is inconsistent on this book, too. Mostly very cheap, because there's a lot of them. You can usually... I found these out there for $1 forever. You could find this and 304 and X-Men 25 for nothing. Then you got, all the speculation with X-Men 97. Drove a couple of those books up. But this one, maybe it kind of got a little bit of a piggyback ride, and that's why you have a $16.99, $17 sale. But otherwise, it's like $4 to $5. And then you can see asking prices here. $5, $10, $15, all over the place. You got hologram error versions, newsstands, etc. You can find it. That's my point. You can find it. So if you want to, bet on Exodus, this is your book. One more? Do I got one more? I think I got another one for you. In this one, we could have went with Penance, even though it's also a convoluted first with M and her sister Penance and twins. Yeah, you're going to be looking for Generation X1, which still you can find. And you're going to be looking for that X-Men, Uncanny X-Men 316, I think it is. You can see she's like on the cover. Yeah, you can look for those. But I didn't bother covering that one today because I don't want to get into all the weeds of when she was which character, because they kind of switched and it was a whole thing. But Gorgon is another option. That's the dude right there up front with the blindfold. So, Gorgon, yeah, right here. He has been around for a little bit, about 20 years now. Seems like a long time. But Gorgon first showed up in that Enemy of the State storyline for Wolverine back in issue 20. So, part 1, Mike Miller, Romita Jr. doing this. It was a fun story. I liked it. You got a lot of like Yakuza stuff and whatnot. And yeah, there's Gorgon. So, swordsman going after Wolverine. Pretty cool. Yeah, right there, wearing his red suit. Well, this one, again, not too bad. around 10 bucks, under 10 bucks, $8 to $10, best offer on 10 bucks. Recent sales, asking prices, it's only 5 to 6 bucks. So it's not a pricey book. Like I said, this was a popular storyline at the time. People were excited for the new writer coming on board, and orders went up. So a lot of copies out there. But it's a character that maybe. And like I said, I didn't cover everybody who was in that book. I thought about doing a couple of more. You had Danny Moonstar in there as well, but then you got to go buy that New Mutants graphic novel, so that's not cheap either. And I forget who else was in is part of that 12, but most of them again are tougher to find books, or maybe not tougher, more expensive books. So you're not going to find them for cheap. These were the cheap books, so that's why I ran with this crew. Who knows though? Because at the end of that book, you saw the actual heir to Apocalypse shows up, so he might still just be the one from our Age of Apocalypse storyline. You know, the name swapped him. I think he goes by Genocide now. Sorry, spoiling things, but yeah, he shows up. So maybe he'll just be the one. Point being, that's all I got for you. So with that said, I rushed to get this done, but I got it done. So hopefully you still enjoyed it, even though it was a little bit rushed and I'm a little bit just mumbling here and thinking about my sandwich because I'm hungry and I want to eat my dinner. So with that said, once again, thank you. I appreciate you all. Check out all the other content here. Check out the links below. And like I said, if you haven't given Whatnot a shot, give it a shot. You got nothing to lose. All you got to gain is 15 free dollars to buy whatever you want. So take a look. And I'll see you all later. Okay, bye.